Friend, let me ask you a straightforward question. Have you ever felt like you did everything right with a woman, only for her to end up with someone else? It hurts, doesn't it? And there you are, smiling, listening to her problems, giving her space, while she goes out with the guy who doesn't even reply to her texts. Ironic, isn't it? The truth is different. But don't worry, it's not your fault. We've been taught that to attract a woman, you need to be the best option, in theory, the kindest, most attentive, most considerate guy. You probably know someone, or maybe it's you, who's always there for her, listens, offers support, sends sweet messages, and still, she chooses someone else. Because attraction isn't based on merits. Well, actually it is, but not for the reasons you think. The problem is that many men avoid taking risks out of fear of rejection, and so they lose. If your strategy is to avoid making waves, you'll become irrelevant. The mistake is that you've been conditioned to wait, and in the game of attraction, those who wait lose. The solution lies in the difference between men who spark desire and those who only inspire pity. We've been sold the idea that being kind, patient, and not pushy is the key to winning her over. A man who doesn't take initiative simply doesn't exist. Get ready, because this is where the real change begins. The harsh reality about attraction is this. In her mind, women aren't looking for a robot who pampers them, but someone who challenges them, who expresses their desires fearlessly. The key is that attraction isn't won with logic, but with intensity. It's not about being arrogant, but about standing out. But attraction isn't a bank where you accumulate points for a loan, not with gifts, favors, or infinite patience, but with presence, confidence, and determination. Women are drawn to men who know what they want and express it without hesitation. Worse yet, fear of rejection paralyzes many, so worried about doing it right that they end up not acting at all. The one who says, "I don't know," you decide, only projects insecurity. Imagine two men asking the same woman out. Attraction isn't logical, it's emotional. This is where the secret of this message comes in. But look around. Reality doesn't match. There are two words that, when said with confidence, can transform how a woman perceives you. It's not about acting like a clown to make them laugh, but about awakening deep feelings. The mistake many men make is believing attraction is a transaction. Don't pick the most perfect candidate, but the one who stirs stronger emotions. The best part? You don't need to be a millionaire, have a perfect body, or drive a fancy car. But this isn't a job interview, and chemistry isn't based on resumes. Think of attraction like hunger. You just need to understand how attraction works on a subconscious level. Before I reveal more, if you find this message helpful, consider subscribing and turning on notifications, because we don't offer fantasies here, just results. It's not magic or manipulation, it's pure psychology. Which do you choose? Exactly. I'm not saying you should be a jerk, but you need to understand that attraction is emotional, not rational. With that said, let's dive in. The big problem, friend, is that you've been misled. But surprise, that doesn't work. And the worst part? The more you try to be the ideal man, the more invisible you become. She sees you as a friend, not someone who sparks passion. It hurts, I know, but it's your fault because no one taught you how attraction really works. Imagine you're starving. Someone offers you a plain salad with no dressing, and another offers a juicy burger with fries. Women don't look for the guy who treats them the best, but the one who makes them feel intense emotions. While you're waiting for the perfect moment, someone else is already with her, making her feel things she doesn't even understand. It's not about ignoring her needs, but about expressing yours with confidence. If you don't want to keep being the nice friend who's never chosen, you need to learn a crucial rule. And this is where two words come in that can completely transform how you're perceived. Want to know what they are? If it were logical, considerate men would have all the dates, while the insensitive ones would be alone. The uncomfortable truth is that women don't choose the guy who tries the hardest, but the one who makes them feel the most intense emotions. If they check all the boxes of being a good guy, they'll win the boyfriend role. You don't choose what tempts you through reasoning, you just feel it. The same goes for women. The problem is that many try to convince instead of making her feel, thinking that favors, gifts, and constant availability will give them an edge. And in this game, indecision is fatal. So how do you create real attraction? The guy who says, "I want this," conveys confidence. The first says, "Would you like to go out sometime if you're free?" The second states, "I want to see you this Friday. Does that work for you?" If you've ever wondered why the bad guys win and the good guys get left behind, now you understand. One begs like a salesman. The other acts with decision. Who do you think sparks more interest? Women don't seek arrogance, but clarity and firmness. Don't underestimate their power, because in them lies the key to perception. Someone who doesn't ask for permission to exist, but expresses their desires naturally. And the second, you're stating what you want with confidence. This isn't a cheap trick or a shortcut to seduction, it's fundamental psychology. And here come those two words that change everything. They're not magical, but when used correctly, they completely shift how she sees you. Yes, it's true your looks matter less than the confidence with which you express yourself. If you've ever wondered why some men, without being wealthy, tall, or particularly handsome, have so much success with women, here's the key. There's a big difference between I demand you do this, and I want to share this with you. Intention is everything. It's not about being good or bad, but about being clear about what you want. With friends, if you say, I want to do this, instead of whatever you guys say, they'll see you as a leader. Words shape how we're perceived, and if you learn to use them with clarity, everything changes. When you avoid saying what you truly want, you project insecurity, and that destroys attraction. The message isn't just verbal, it's physical. That said, it's not about sounding authoritarian. I demand you do this, which sounds like an imposition. No one is attracted to arrogance. Words without action lose value. If you choose the latter, get ready, because next I'll show you how to apply these two words correctly to maximize their effect. A man who decides and acts conveys leadership, and that generates attraction. A study revealed something interesting. If you say, I want to see you this Saturday, but with a slouched posture, low tone, and evasive gaze, forget it. Your body language contradicts your words. Saying a want with a shaky voice and avoiding eye contact won't work. Nor does it help to use them randomly like they're a spell. This is where many fail. For how to use them properly. Now that you know the power of these two words, here comes the crucial part. If he doesn't know how to cook them, the dish will be bad. The same goes for these words. But when you take control and say, I want, without hesitating, without asking permission, her perception of you changes instantly. And now that you know, get ready, because what's coming can change your perspective. The time has come. The two words that will transform how you're seen are, I want. Simple, but their impact is profound. Notice the difference. Situation 1. If you want, we could go out sometime when you're free. Sure. The most revealing thing is that when you say, I want, with determination, the dynamic shifts completely. Why? Because most men fear expressing their desires due to fear of rejection, what others might think, or causing discomfort. Situation 2. I want to see you this Saturday. See the contrast? The first case, you're seeking approval. Women are drawn to men with conviction who express their intentions without hesitation. That fear is easily perceived. It's not about imposing, but about leading. A study on attraction showed that men who communicate with clarity and firmness are seen as more attractive, regardless of their appearance. They communicate with confidence. I propose an experiment. The next time you ask someone out, use I want. Instead of vague phrases, and watch her reaction. The truth is simple. When a man expresses his desires without fear of rejection, he becomes irresistible. This doesn't just apply to romance. At work, if you say, I want a raise, instead of, if you think I deserve it, your boss will take you more seriously. So, tell me, do you prefer to keep waiting in the background, or take action? How do you apply them without seeming insecure or needy? Imagine a chef with excellent ingredients. It's not enough to say them. It's about how you express them. The key is to say them with a firm, steady voice and maintain eye contact. There's a big difference between, I want to see you this Saturday, expressing desire with confidence. Right, if you say, I want to take you to dinner, but let her plan everything, the effect fades. Men who speak with conviction are perceived as more attractive, regardless of their appearance. Yes, it's not about how you look, but how you communicate. That's why some men, without wealth, height, or striking features, stand out with women. They convey clarity. I challenge you to try it. The next time you ask someone out, use I want instead of vague phrases and see the difference. So tell me, do you prefer to stay in the shadows or take control? If you choose the latter, get ready, because now comes the most valuable part: how to apply these words correctly to maximize their impact. 5. Exercise to transform your mindset. When the waiter asks what you want to order, instead of hesitating with, "I don't know, what do you recommend?" state clearly, "I choose this." With friends, when deciding plans, replace whatever you prefer with, "I choose to do this." Like a Stoic training their mind, you must accept this initial discomfort, just as the body aches when starting at the gym but grows stronger with consistency. Your character will strengthen through this exercise. When you express your desires without fear of rejection, you become magnetic. People will respond to you differently. Your friends will respect you more. Your workplace will value your stance, and women will perceive your confidence. "I choose" embodies the declaration of a man in control of his will, acting according to his values, unafraid of external judgment. It's not about faking confidence, but embodying coherence between thought, word, and action. This challenge isn't a game of appearances. Transformation happens when you stop theorizing about virtue and start practicing it. I invite you to reflect. See you on the path of growth, disciple of wisdom. Not because of some magic formula, but because you've cultivated the Stoic virtue of authenticity. But if you experience the transformation, you'll realize this goes beyond theory. It's the path to living with integrity. True mastery comes when practice becomes second nature. When I choose, this applies to all areas. If this approach resonates with you, explore more about how Stoic philosophy builds genuine confidence. Remember, as Seneca said, it's not because things are difficult that we don't dare. It's because we don't dare that they are difficult. At work, saying, "I want a raise," instead of, "if you think it's fair," makes your boss take you more seriously. If you've gotten this far thinking, "Sounds good, but do nothing," this effort was pointless. With friends, saying, "I want to do this," instead of, "whatever you guys decide," makes them see you as a leader. Why? Because that fear operates like a virus in their mind, and it's only eliminated through consistent practice. That's why the exercise I'm sharing is simple but powerful. Your words define how you're perceived, and mastering this changes everything. Knowing something doesn't change anything applying it does. The first few days, you'll feel discomfort. Your mind will try to dissuade you with thoughts like, "I sound too abrupt," or "I'll seem arrogant." Many understand the theory, but when it comes to acting, fear of rejection paralyzes them. For the next 7 days, practice saying, "I choose." At least 5 times a day in various contexts, not just with women, but in everyday situations. And crucially, with the woman you're interested in, express your intentions directly, without justifications or fear. That's not arrogance. It's breaking free from years of social conditioning that taught you to ask permission to express your desires. After 7 days of practice, you'll notice profound changes. Understand this. The goal isn't to manipulate, but to align your words with your will, as Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius taught. If after a week you don't notice a difference, you can go back to your old ways. Stops being an exercise and becomes your way of being. What I've shared here isn't a trick, but a timeless principle. Like the Stoic who stands firm in adversity, your power lies in consistent action. How has this exercise impacted your life? Share your experience. This is your moment to act with determination. Move forward, practice, and watch your world transform.